Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
So, according to you, what is divinity and how can one awaken divinity in themselves?
Beautiful. I love that question more than all your questions. By nature, we are all divine. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. And we are all coming from that same universal source of the Vedas call it Brahm or Brahma or Shiva or whatever. It's that universal source of creative intelligence, which is like an ocean of pure consciousness from which everything in the universe, including our human physiology, is constantly emerging and submerging at infinite speed. And this is what, fortunately for modern science has told us that there's an underlying field of creative intelligence that they now call the vacuum state or the unified field of all the laws of nature, from which including the human body is coming out of. And they have found in modern science that human consciousness actually affects the field, unlike classical physics and things like this. And there are beautiful books that are written for laymen that anyone interested could read, like the physics of Tao and the dancing woolly masters. These are all based on quantum physics, but you will find it's almost sound like metaphysical when you're reading it. So there's this underlying field of intelligence which all the ancient seers, East and West, had known. This is the Tao that you're speaking about. This is that balanced state, unified field. This is the Satchitanand. This is the Nirvana. This is that field of pure consciousness that is there within everyone. The human physiology as we know it is an expression of that field. And as I tell people when I lecture on this subject, I said, we are already divine, but our divinity is hidden by the stresses and strain that we have created in life. And by the wrong way of thinking and wrong beliefs that we have of who we are. Because we are not educated to know that we are divine, even though our religious teachings may tell us that, but who believes it? Because when we look at ourselves in our daily life, we don't see ourselves as divine individuals. We see ourselves making a set of mistakes. And, I remember Mahashiji used to tell us, we already enlightened beings. And we were, not me, I have this, I'm so stressed out and all that. But he was right, because the essence of ourself is like that. And what people did not recognize, that it was not through philosophy that you realize the totality of who you are. It was through the refinement of your nervous system and your brain physiology that it can now express the totality of who you are. It's like this television set that you have, if the coaxial cable coming to it is not clean, then the signal will not be clear. And it's like your central nervous system and the brain physiology is the organs through which this field of pure creative intelligence expresses itself in this instrument we have created in order to walk on this place we call planet Earth. It's just a vehicle. But we have to understand the vehicle and we have to know how to purify it. And that is what has been sadly missing. Because a lot of people who speak this knowledge think that if I can regurgitate and talk about it and in all the nice philosophical way, then I will become enlightened. No, I say you're already enlightened. That's why it's called self-realization. You just have to realize that yourself, the self, is that. And how you do that is knowing how to silence the mind to that state of perfect balance and silence, where silence and dynamism coexist, meaning that you're not so silent that you lose awareness. And that could only happen, as they have seen now in research, when the brain maintains maximum coherence, meaning all areas of the brain become fully ordered and the body is in a state of perfect rest. So what you end up with is a state of balance where you have this restful alertness. And this is what you want to, in order to live your divinity on a day-to-day. You want to have that silence coexisting with all your dynamic states of activity. So that whatever you're doing, whether you're sleeping or waking or prancing or dancing, you never lose that balance inside. And why? Because that state of balance, that divine state, is a state of Satchitananda, bliss, the bliss consciousness. And when you have that, then what happens in your life is that 24/7, you're living a state of fulfillment. As I told some people in a recent lecture on this topic, I said, it does not mean that in the enlightened state that you do not have challenges anymore. You will always have challenges, but you will never suffer. You will never feel this sense of defeat and despair. What people call problems will now become a test for your creative intelligence. And you'll be happy to go after it.
Yes.
So that's what when I speak about divinity, I speak about it in very practical terms, in terms of a living reality where you can live 200% of life. And that is your birthright. This is not a far-fetched thing. This is something that we are born to enjoy. What has been lost is how first to transcend or to know that area of life and to become familiar with it, so much so that it never leaves you. Not just to touch it now and then, but it has to become like your best friend. You have to fall in love with it. Just as when you fall in love for the first time, all through the day you're thinking about the boy or the girl or what are they doing and all that. That love has to be so complete within yourself that what people call it's a love of God. And that sweetness, irrespective of what you're doing, never leaves you.
Yeah, wonderful. Very nice. And